It's not jazz, it's not country, it's not. It's Norah Jones, you know.
Oh, I don't know if I actually could ever remember having a dream on the road because you're so exhausted. You kind of, you get on the bus at the end of the night and you know, obviously for my job, I'm thinking about, okay, what is going to happen tomorrow or trying to fix something that happened today. So when you get on the bus, you sort of, you know, you might have a couple drinks or a bite to eat and you just try to shut off. So usually when I go to bed, if there's nothing major pressing, I sleep hard.
It's tough on the sleep department, so we try to get as much as we can. So it's not that myth of the all-night party bus. That doesn't really happen so much. Not at our age, anyways.
I prefer sleeping on the bus to a hotel room. Even my own house sometimes, I sleep better on the bus than at my own house. Because the motion, the rocking, it's like when you're a little kid and your parents want you to shut up and they put you in the car seat and drive you around the block.
I love sleeping in the bunk. It's like a cocoon, and when the bus is moving, I guess it's similar to like a white noise sort of thing, but it's a certain kind of motion thing that's really comforting.
I'd always wanted to travel, and I'd always wanted to play music, and the two sort of go hand in hand at a certain level.
This is fine, but this key.
If we're in a run of dates, of actual dates, it's almost the exact same every day. Wake up at 7:30 or 8, depending on what my loading is. It will fluctuate maybe a half an hour to an hour. But you know, 7:30 alarm will go up. We all get up, have some coffee. Usually it's 8 or 9 a.m. load-in, so that's when we crack the trucks.
Some of the crew gets up. We get up in stages. They have different call times. The first people that go in are the riggers and the caterers. So they can get all the food ready, and the riggers get all the points ready for up in the arena or up in the theater that hang all the lights. That all has to be done first. So that would be the first call. And then the second call is lighting, because they have to work on the deck to assemble their lighting kit and get it up in the air, and nothing can happen on the stage until lighting's in the air. And then the third call being the audio in the back line, where the PA goes up and the band's gear goes up on stage, and that's the third call. So it would be 8, 9, and 10 are the calls. So everybody's staggered.
This is what I've always wanted to do since I was about, 12 years old. Since I started playing guitar, this is, for the first time in my life, I'm exactly doing what I thought it would look like.
I think we try to keep things fresh and new all the time. And when we're on the road, 50-some shows or whatever, you play these songs a lot, and we've heard them every time. The audience, it might be the first time they've heard it that way. And I know it changes because we don't want it to be exactly the same every time. That would really be boring for us, and it wouldn't be challenging. It wouldn't be very creative. What's the point if you don't feel anything?
I can't stop myself from falling back again. In the morning, maybe in the afternoon.
I mean, I think the biggest thing that happens is like tempo changes. Like after a while of playing it, it tends to get kind of it gets faster, you know, the energy starts like pumping.
Lines on your face don't bother me. Down in my chair when you dance over me, I can't help myself. I gotta see you again.
It's a lot more laid back. You know, there's more things. The tempos aren't as rigid. Things got a bit more of a liquid kind of jalopy kind of feel. I can't describe it really, but it's not as rigid. You know, it's not that rock thing where it's kind of pounding and the drummer's got to be perfectly in time. You know, this thing, everybody kind of hangs off of everybody else. I mean, everybody kind of hangs off of what Norah's doing, really, music.
Oh my God. No, I won't go for any of those things. To not touch your skin is not why I sing. I can't help myself. I gotta see you again. Come on. What? I hope you didn't film that.
That's the downside of having the first version of the tune be the one that's on the CD, is that, you know, any song that you play over the course of months on the road, you know, is gonna morph into something else.
And Above Ground, the song I wrote with Andy, it just kind of came really naturally. It was weird because I never collaborated with anybody on writing before. And we just, you know, he was playing a little thing on the guitar and I'm just walking around the room and I was thinking, wow, that sounds cool. Like it just immediately sparked like a melody or something in my head, and then we kind of went back and forth and just building on it, and then adding lyrics.
It's great when you come off stage and people have loved it. That's why I think that's why you do it. I think it's that feeling.
Something about being on tour is kind of like a vacation for me, you know. I love it because you know, you have a routine, you know what you're gonna do. The crowds are different every night depending on the city or state or country or wherever, and you know, and it's just good to hang out with these people that I've hung out with for 3 years straight. You know, we have such a, like, our whole existence revolves around each other at the moment, so you know, I feel most comfortable around them, you know. So it's cool. It's really good.
It's a little bit more compressed than a lot of relationships, but other than that, it's not any different, really. You know, people ebb and flow, and you know, I don't know, but everybody gets along fundamentally, and everybody really cares about each other, so that's the main thing, you know.
Okay, this is Guitar Central. Welcome to Guitar Central. Let's start on the right here. This is my Martin D18 acoustic guitar, which kind of does has many uses. This particular one was given to me by my dear old friend Chrissy Hind, God bless her, just as a gift. And that's kind of my favourite guitar.
When I first started playing with Norah, this is the only guitar I owned. I didn't even own an acoustic guitar, and I think I told her that I didn't want to play acoustic guitar, that I really just wanted to play electric guitar, this electric guitar. I got it when I was 13, which coincidentally, well, that was in 1979, which I think was the same year Norah was born, which makes me feel old. But I got this guitar back then, and it's been with me all over the world, on records. It's not the best guitar, but it's the guitar that I basically learned to play on. When I was 13, I just got started and was lucky enough to get a good guitar at that age. And so this guitar just feels like home, no pun intended, to me. So this is, if I only could take one guitar on the road, it would be this guitar. It's a 1979 Gibson ES335.
We've got a National Res Electric guitar, which is going to have a half and half. It's got a resonator in here, and the pickup here. It's got a very funky sounding guitar. I play mainly slide on that one. And then another old favourite, my trusty old Fender Telecaster that my grandfather bought for me in 1977. I'm showing my age, when I was 19. And I paid him back on a kind of weekly basis. I've had this one for a long time. This is tuned very low. This is down to a low. It's got a special heavy set of strings on it. It's tuned to an open B flat chord, which is like really, you know, oh, it's right down there.
Most of the time, this is my main acoustic. When we have to do little shows where I can only take two guitars, like if it's just a quickie overnight thing for TV or whatever, I would probably take this acoustic and the electric that I just showed you. But of course, being a guitar player, I have to have more, always more.
This is a German guitar called a Duesenberg. Got a lovely smooth Bigsby on it. This a very dear friend of mine, German guitar player called Carl Carlton, got me this one. And this is his model. This is the Carl Carlton model, and I really like it. Nice blues guitar as well, although I don't play much blues on the Norah set. And then turn it up.
I got a second electric guitar, which you'll notice looks a lot like the first electric guitar, which begs the question, why didn't you get one that was more different? Well, I don't know. I guess, you know, some people date the same type of person over and over again. I keep grabbing the same kind of guitars over and over again. This one does basically the same thing as the other one does. Sounds the same, feels the same. It's a lighter color. You might notice, some of your more astute viewers out there might have noticed that it's a lighter color.
And then we got, this is my newest acquisition. This is a Dobro style guitar. It's got the Spider bridge resonator. Made by an English guy who lived in Paris for a long time, called Mike Lewis, called a fine resophonic. And this is a laminated Koa model which he had in his workshop, and it's a fine guitar. So I use that for slide mainly, one of my big heavy brass slides, and you know, that's covers a lot of bases now. I'm really pleased with it. I haven't had this too long.
And I happen to find this guitar, which again looks much the same as the other one, only that it's lighter and dark around the edges. This is another Gibson ES335 from 1964. I bought it off a friend of mine who was selling it for whatever reason. And it does much the same as the other two do, except that it feels old and funky because it's broken in. It's the first guitar I ever bought that was older than I am.
I've got a spare acoustic here, which is a Guild kind of solid electro, but I don't have to use that. And then my Dan Electro copy, Jerry Jones Dan Electro copy, which I don't use too much.
It's different than the other one in that it's only got 12 frets. This is really technical, I guess, but it connects with the body at the 12th fret, whereas most modern acoustics connect with the body at the 14th fret. That means you have more neck out here. So you can't play super high up on this guitar, but I don't really play that high up anyway. Actually, I'd be surprised if I ever get higher than this on most of my guitars. But there is actually, on the song Don't Know Why, which if you're a Norah Jones fan, you might be familiar with that song. That's real hard to play without a 14 fret guitar, and I'll show you why. It goes way up here. So as you can see, my hand is way up over the guitar, which is not really what you want to do. It's not the best hand position. So I use the other acoustic, which has the extra frets. Check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. See, it's got these 2 extra frets, and you don't have to twist your hand as much to get at it. So I use this guitar for that song, and I use this guitar for a lot of the other songs. And having the frets connect, having the neck connect in a different spot affects the overtones and a bunch of technical gobbledygook that most people probably don't care about, but that I think about.
And then last but not least, my my old Gibson mandolin, which isn't like one of the greats, you know. I'm not a great. In fact, it's an A3, what they refer to as a junior mandolin. So I'm a kind of junior mandolin player, really, kind of what you call a first grader in the mandolin world. But this dates back to 1925. Smells like your grandma's old chest of drawers. Kind of got that old musty, churchy kind of smell. It's lovely. You can't smell that because you're under the camera, but it does the job. It does the job.
I got one more electric guitar. This is a Telecaster. You notice it doesn't look like my other guitars, but that's mostly just to throw people off. Maybe they won't recognize me if they see me with this guitar. It's just twangier. Telecasters are, you know, Nashville guitars. They're Austin guitars. They're twangy. So I use this on Long Way Home, which is a Tom Waits song that we do that's kind of in a Johnny Cash style. And anything we do that's kind of country-ish, I'm likely to play this guitar. I don't know that in the end it's going to sound all that different to the listener, but when I strap it on, it makes me feel more country. And so that's a lot of what changing the guitars is. It's just about tricking myself into being in a different zone.